Statement of the problem number 1. What is the profile of the kindergarten teacher respondents in terms of 1.1 educational attainment and 1.2 number of years in teaching? Findings 1.1 All kindergarten teacher respondents, or 100%, have a baccalaureate degree with 80% and frequency of 12 having a Bachelor of Early Childhood Education or B.Ed, and smaller proportions in special education or SPED, early childhood education or ECE, and BSED communication with 6.67% and frequency of 1 each. At the graduate level, 33.34% are pursuing a master's degree, mainly in MA-ECE of 20% and frequency of 3, with a small representation in MAED and MASPED with 66.67% and frequency of 1, respectively, while 66.66% are not enrolled in any master's program and no one is pursuing a doctorate. 1.2 The number of years in teaching indicates that 73.3% frequency of 11 of kindergarten teachers have been teaching for 11 to 20 years, while 26.7% and frequency of 4 fall within the 4 to 10 years bracket. There are no teachers with less than 4 years or more than 20 years experience. In conclusion, the kindergarten teacher respondents are academically qualified and predominantly experienced, but their professional preparation is characterized by strong generalist training and limited advanced or specialized study in early childhood education. The concentration of teachers in the 11 to 20 years experience bracket suggests a stable mid-career workforce capable of solid pedagogical implementation. Yet, the underrepresentation of novices and highly senior teachers points to a constrained view of professional development trajectories across different career stage. For recommendation, policymakers and educational leaders must work toward fostering access to high-level and specialized degrees, especially in the fields of early childhood education and special education, by offering scholarships, service-linked benefits, and graduate courses within the school setting. Similarly, professional development efforts must also seek to engage educators in both generalist and specialized professional learning, incorporating the principle of evidence-based teaching practice, research competency, and reflective inquiry in early childhood education.
For SOP number 2, problem: how frequently are motivational approaches based on a killer's arts model applied by teachers in the areas of 2.1 attention, 2.2 relevance, 2.3 confidence, and 2.4 satisfaction. So the findings for attention was interpreted as every type B is equal to 4.55 and the standard deviation is 0.54. For 2.2 relevance was interpreted as every type with a mean of 4.69 and standard deviation of 0.49. And confidence was interpreted as every type with a mean of 4.65 and standard deviation of 0.53. And the satisfaction was interpreted as every type with a mean of 4.75 and standard deviation of 0.47. For the conclusions, we have teachers frequently apply motivational approaches, arts model across all areas, all interpreted as every type, indicating that teachers not only aware of motivational approaches but also capable of integrating them holistically into their instructional practices. And for the recommendation, we have teachers should keep using Keller's arts models while enhancing its use application with more targeted domains, specific strategies in literacy, numeracy, and environmental learning. So for the problem number 3, what is the pupil's progress level in terms of 3.1 health, well-being, and motor development, 3.2 social-emotional development, 3.3 language, literacy, and communication, 3.4 mathematics, and 3.5 understanding the physical and natural environment. So for the findings, 3.1 health, well-being, and motor development obtained, the mean is equals to 2.48, interpreted as consistent, indicating that pupils are able to demonstrate expected health habits, motor skills, and physical coordination regularly. 3.2 social emotional development obtained, the mean 2.37, interpreted as consistent, indicating that pupils are increasingly capable of expressing emotions, demonstrate empathy, and relate to other people. So for the conclusions, the kindergarten pupils' progress level with a grand mean of 2.21, interpreted as developing, shows that the pupils are generally progressing toward the expected competencies for their age and grade level. However, the varying results across the grades indicate that while some areas such as health, well-being, motor development, social-emotional development, and speaking have reached the consistent level, the other areas like listening and hearing, reading, writing, mathematics, and understanding the physical and natural environment remain at the developing level, suggesting that the need for continued and targeted instructional support. So for the recommendations, kindergarten teachers should intensify interventions in the least developed areas, particularly reading, writing, mathematics, listening, and reading, and understanding the physical and natural environment through developmentally appropriate and hands-on activities. School heads and instructional supervisors should conduct regular monitoring, classroom observations, and coaching sessions to ensure that motivational strategies are paired with effective instructional delivery. So for the 3.3 language literacy and communication, so for the findings, language literacy and recommendations in terms of listening and viewing, it obtained the mean 2.12, developing, indicating that pupils are still improving their ability to listen attentively, understanding information and respond appropriately to visual and oral materials. Speaking obtained a mean of 2.35, consistent, indicating that pupils are able to communicate ideas, answer questions, and participate in oral activities. Reading obtained a mean of 2.05, developing, indicating that pupils are gradually acquiring basic reading skills such as letter recognition, sound association, and simple comprehension. Writing obtained the mean 2.22, developing, indicating that pupils are beginning to improve.
Okay, what problem is that?
SOP number 3.
Number 3.
Yes.
Again, my comment, if it's executive summary, you don't have to paste everything there. Go directly kung unsay finding. Less ang yaw-yaw ana. Executive summary naman na. Ayaw na ninyo na ba yung taas na kayo na? Let's browse over your executive summary. What's next to that?
Then next we have the SOP number 4. Is there a significant relationship between the frequency of
Shorten that part. Katong taas na kayo.
yes, frequency of motivational approaches based on the Keller's Arts model and pupils' progress level? So the findings is the frequency of motivational approaches based on the Keller's Arts model and the pupil's progress level had a computed R of 0.053, which indicates a very weak positive relationship that is not significant. For conclusion, it is concluded that the kindergarten teachers frequently apply motivational approaches based on the Feller's arts model, yet these approaches shows a very weak and non-significant relationship with pupils' progress level, indicating that motivational strategies alone are insufficient to bring about substantial improvement in learners' developmental progress. So for the recommendation, more formative and competency-based assessment should be used by teachers to pinpoint students who require more help and to more precisely monitor progress across the day.
For SOP number 5, what action plan is designed based on the findings of the study? So the findings, an action plan is advised to operationalize arts integration with domain-specific intervention, professional development, coaching cycle, formative assessment, and institutional support for socialization. For conclusion, the structured strategic plan is required to translate frequent motivational practice into measurable gains by aligning arts with specific instructional practices, assessment, and teachers' development. With the recommendation, an action plan is recommended to be developed and implemented to provide a strategic framework for the use of motivational approaches based on Keller's arts model to systematically enhance and sustain pupils' progress.
Okay.